Great, now that we're done with option one, let's take a look at what I say is the more interesting one, which is the option two. This one is a little bit different. Recall from earlier, it's not a workflow from a user perspective. This option is the quote, I don't want to take any extra steps. You are AI. You're supposed to be smart. Go to town and hook me up with a plan. And AI, please give me the trails to ride. Use your best judgment based on my criteria. So let's do that. Let's click on this button and bring us into the second option. The screen looks familiar, but in this case, I want to show you how Rockset can work with a workflow or a pipeline process like LangChain. LangChain makes it easy to create a process or pipeline of AI type work. Parallelization is a hard word to say, but that's essentially what it is. On the right, you can see my pseudocode. I am using Rockset as a parallel in this case, but I could have used many, many more. I could have brought in PDFs and other types of information and incorporated that into my planning. But for now, we're just using Rockset for illustrative purposes. So let's use this text up here. It says, I'm going mountain biking soon near Asheville, North Carolina. Happens to be near where I live, that's why I'm using that. This time though, I am an expert rider and want to ride hard trails. Can you come up with a plan? Let's copy that verbatim and paste it in here. Okay, let's select all these checkboxes. Let's say create a packing list, shopping list. Let's use the latest AI model, which presumably has been trained on more recent information. It will not have the blind spots filled in by default, but that's where Rockset comes into play. And let's also tell it to take its time and be thoughtful. You know, we want a decent response. So when I click on this button, AI agent, build me a plan, I'm not only going out to my AI model to tell it to build me a robust plan with a shopping list and a packing list and use the latest smart model that's available, but I'm also going to Rockset and saying, pull back the trails that fit my criteria that I provided in this input box here and make that a part of the recommended plan that you come back with. So let's take a look at this output that came back. It says here, I have selected 3 trails from the list provided. Notice these are different trails than we had before, but this time I used expert versus beginner before. The criteria was a little bit different. Factor, this trail offers high altitude rides with double black diamond difficulty. This next one, double black diamond. It caters exclusively to expert riders. And then finally this last one too, it's an intermediate, but it does have an aspect that being near Asheville with a level of difficulty that would line up with our criteria. If our trail set data set was much bigger, perhaps it would even come up with different trails that even further meet this criteria, but we're using a pretty limited data set. It came back with a plan. So over that trip, it's saying, here's what you want to do over the first few days. Start with this identified boy trail, go on to the next trail called Factor, and then finish the trip with Always. The interesting thing here is it did also come back with a packing list. So I can take a look at this and decide, do I have all of this? And it might even jog my memory as to, oh yeah, don't forget my bike pump or something like that. And where to buy. This is interesting. It mentions a few local retailers. So this doesn't just have to be online giants. This can be local retailers. It doesn't have to just be Amazon affiliate links, that sort of things. It's actually mentioning and recommending specific shops in the area. So it makes for a nice plan that you can then copy, send this to your friends saying, hey, this is the plan that we came up with. And let's take a look at another example that is interesting in my mind is let's take the same phrase and let's say, please respond to me in German. So this is kind of nice too. I'm just going to make it go really fast. Now, I don't speak German, so I can't vouch as to the exact grammatical issues that might occur, but it looks German to me. I can see the trails that it has come up with as well, and presumably a packing list in German. So, you know, this thing can be global too, and that's the beauty of artificial intelligence, is it quickly adapts to changing in requirements that you might have.